There was a devastating article in The Guardian recently written by a teenage girl. She wanted us to know what kinds of things she was experiencing online. She explained about the videos and the posts and the comments that showed up in her feed talking about females. Now, that's a term that some boys and men use to dehumanize women. So if you hear a guy referring to us as females, I would watch out. Now, these comments that this girl encountered discuss things like whether a woman or girl had a high body count, which refers to the number of men she slept with. These comments dissected women's appearances, and sometimes they mocked these girls' mental health. And what this girl saw on social media made her aware of how much hatred some men and boys express towards women. And she was starting to assume that all boys her age were like the boys she saw online. She remarked that she couldn't go on Instagram for even 10 minutes anymore without feeling, quote, disheartened and unhappy about being a girl. Now, that article affected me deeply because some of that is actually why I took a break from YouTube a few years ago. So a few years ago, I was getting so many comments from red pillars, the manosphere guys, that it was affecting me because I had to see those comments every time I logged in. And, I deleted and I blocked, but I started dreading every time I published a video. It wasn't fun anymore. And so I stopped making videos for a few years. Now, my channel is tiny. I can't imagine what it must be like for women with bigger followings who must have to deal with these women hating comments on a daily basis. Now, for somebody who's devoted her entire life to the idea that relationships between men and women can be wonderful and loving, these comments hit me particularly hard because they suggested to me that the love I promised women is not actually possible. Not when some men hold this much contempt towards women, and not when some boys are growing up thinking it's okay to talk this way. Now, for Dr. John Gottman, contempt is one of the four horsemen, which are the four predictors that a relationship will break up. So if your partner expresses contempt towards you by rolling his eyes at you, by mocking what you say, by putting you down or making fun of you, then he doesn't actually love you. Because love and contempt cannot coexist. You can use people you feel contempt for, but what you feel towards them is possessiveness and not love. But here's the irony. The very best relationships in history, like the history of humanity, are also happening today. These are the good men I write about in Sanctuary Signals. These are the men who love women, appreciate women, and are thrilled they get to spend the rest of their lives with their best friend. So, how do you get one of those relationships? How do you become one of the lucky ones? Well, here's the sad truth: the quality of your relationship is not actually in your hands, it's in His. According to the Gottman Institute, what determines a relationship success is not necessarily how hard the woman works, it's how hard the man works. So if he works at your relationship by treating you well, by listening to you, by making decisions jointly, you have a great shot at lasting happiness. But if he refuses to work at the relationship because that's your job, he's the man, he doesn't have to, then you're in for a rough time. We women can pour our hearts and souls into a relationship that's just going nowhere. So it's time we looked more clearly at men and simply asked ourselves, is this man capable of loving me like I love him? Does he respect you? Does he admire what you've made of your life? Does he appreciate you? Does he feel grateful for your presence in his life? Does he adjust his life for you? Or does he just make you feel like the supporting act? I think it's more important than ever that we can distinguish between the two. And I've got some tools that can help. The first is a guide to how good men think. It's called Sanctuary Signals, and it will help you see how good men talk about relationships and all of the things they're not telling you. And the second is a free quiz that can help you find out whether your relationship is actually worth saving. Are you loving someone who can love you back or someone who's actually hurting you? You need to find out. I will include those links in the description below. Take really good care of yourself, and I will see you soon.